Now back to Decision 2012 and Herman Cain's relationship with the black community. Back in 2008, President Obama, of course, got 95% of the black vote. And as a Republican candidate, can Cain sway black voters away from the Democrats? Yesterday, columnist and radio talk show host Larry Elder had this to write. He said, quote, Cain is a clear and present danger to the Democratic Party and their invaluable near monolithic black vote. Cain represents a hardworking, up from the bootstraps, financially successful, plain-spoken Republican Southern black man. Cain calls out the Democratic Party for fostering a victocrat mentality and creating a sense of entitlement. And joining me now to talk more about this is political analyst and contributor to the Griot, Earl Ofari Hutchinson. Earl, thanks for your time.
Always a pleasure.
So what do you think of Larry Elder saying that Cain is a clear and present danger, despite the fact that Herman Cain has offended a number of people in the African-American community by saying that there's a plantation mentality and that he says he doesn't believe that racism exists in this country? Today, no one holds you back.
Yeah. Well, dream on. That's fantasy land stuff. Herman Cain has said many, many times all of those things and much more about race. He's also said that, you know, if I get the GOP nomination, I'll get about 1/3 of the African-American vote. Again, that's fantasy land stuff. They like to believe that. Every poll, every survey, Tamron, that I've seen has shown clearly, yes, there's some grumbling about President Obama from some African Americans. Yes, there are some that say he should do more on the issue of unemployment and poverty. But again, clearly, the support is there. Ironclad support. If the election were held today and next year, nothing's going to change. Still, 90 to 95% of African Americans, based on everything I've seen, still are clearly in the president's camp. So Cain, the GOP, and some strategists would like to think that his campaign and his candidacy is going to pull some African Americans away. But again, there's absolutely no evidence of that to support that.
In the NBC poll that just came out in a head-to-head matchup, President Obama versus Cain, Obama's got 49% of the vote there, Cain 38%. Well, Larry Elder makes the point, though, that his views, meaning Herman Cain, are more in line with the black vote in that anti-abortion, more pro-traditional marriage. And he also points to, for example, more pro-vouchers for inner-city parents than the typical non-black Democrat. So he's saying, though, that Herman Cain's values, where he stands, is in line with a lot of African-American voters out there. What I mean by a lot, percentage-wise, who knows? But this is the point that Larry Elder's making.
Yeah, well, but African-American conservatives and those that are aligned with the GOP have been saying that for years. And, you know, and there's some truth to that. But we're talking about social values. We're talking about social issues. That's separate from political issues and political values. Tamron, going back 60 years, with all the social conservatism of African-Americans that many of the columnists and writers say, which is true, at the same time, during those decades, we have seen consistently African-Americans by 80 to 85, and of course with President Obama and even Bill Clinton, 90% voting Democratic and voting for Democrats, up to and including the president. So what would make anyone, including conservatives, think that's going to change?
Well, perhaps because there are people who believe that black voters vote for candidates just because they are black.
Well, they
which
have
is
said
obviously
that too,
nonsense, but that is what some people choose to assume.
Some people choose to believe that, and some people choose to believe in Santa Claus, too. But the bottom line is African Americans vote their political interest, and that's not going to change in 2012.
All right.
Dream on.
Dream on. Earl Ofari Hutchinson, thank you very much. Greatly appreciate your time. Thanks, Earl.
Always a pleasure.